passiontimes.hk。
Hello， 歡迎翻到嚟劈啪樂壇嘅時間啊！係啦，我本來其實今日係冇諗住做廣東話嘅部分㗎，但係咧，湘傑好似話佢又係唔係得好長嘅片啦，咁又係啦，我哋永遠都唔知究竟其他人拍唔拍片嘅，我哋個個拍片嘅時候都係唔知其他人拍唔拍嘅，咁所以咧係啦，都係唔知大家唔知七叔拍唔拍啊，唔知淡水拍唔拍啊，咁所以我唯有我有少少時間，我就加多即係講多少少講個中文嘅部分先啦。咁係啦，因為今日因為啱啱禮拜三又打風咧，跟住因為本來我哋禮拜三拍廣告公司啊嘛，今年已經係第二次啦，第二次禮拜三打風，跟住搞到拍唔到廣告公司啦。咁其實仲要本來我今個禮拜咧係休息嘅，今個禮拜本身係唔使拍㗎，咁但係咧因為禮拜三打風啦，咁跟住大家嘅計劃就改變咗咁樣樣，咁就要改今日拍。咁今日拍嘅話咧，咁就得翻我同發子得閒啦，咁所以咧今日就。所以我都係要翻嘅，我特登要翻去拍嘢啦，咁翻去要拍廣告公司啦，咁咧，所以我今日又唔係話好多時間嘅，如果唔係，不過我盡量啦，睇下我拍得幾長得幾長咯，如果唔係，費事個節目得翻個半鐘咁樣，咁就實在太過分啦。咁咧，我有咩講咧？咁獨腳都播出咗啦，咁我相信如果你係呢個時段都會睇到我哋節目嘅人咧，咁應該我估你哋都應該有睇到我哋嘅獨腳都㗎啦，耶！咁就係啦，但係獨腳都嘅感想我都係留翻獨腳都嘅時候先講啦，因為如果唔係嘅話，咁都獨腳都呢個節目即係個劇集台嘅吹水時段咧，咁我就冇嘢講啦，咁。我都已經諗咗啲嘢，其實我哋未編更究竟係今個禮拜邊個做嘅，咁但係如果我做嘅話咧，我都已經諗到少少嘢可以講，咁所以就係啦，咁獨腳刀嘅嘢就留待獨腳刀劇集台時段先講啦，咁但係咧我要俾定個心理準備大家啦，我聽晚嗰個廣告公司嗰條片咧，即係。你哋睇咗劇集都知道我手腳有幾唔協調㗎啦，咁其實我都有啲唔好意思啊，其實即係俾做定少少預告俾大家先啦，即係聽晚嗰個廣告片咧，因為又係關於一啲動作嘅問題啦，咁同埋因為啲動作係要快㗎啦，咁然後我係着咗對，我唔知道，因為本來即係 call 嘅時候冇講話會拍綠幕，咁同埋本來。我哋拍嘅時候個 costume 係黃色嘅，咁我就專登着咗對黃色嘅鞋去襯翻個 costume 咁樣樣啦。跟住點知翻到去之後就發現咗原來個 costume 嗰個黃色嘅 costume 咧，原來係冇即係送唔切貨啊。咁跟住原來佢哋係買咗第二套 costume 啦。咁所以其實我對黃色嘅鞋咧就唔關。即係唔係襯翻件衫咁樣樣啦，跟住原來拍綠幕喎，跟住佢哋就話覺得我對黃色嘅鞋驚佢青青地，因為佢係黃色得嚟，可能有輕輕帶青青地色咁樣樣，咁佢哋就驚佢哋退唔到，咁就佢哋好好人嘅，佢哋有 offer 我借鞋俾我着啦，但係因為我隻腳真係偏細，跟住佢哋個鞋好大咧，跟住我係即係嗰啲動作，我要轉腳嗰啲時候，我踩唔到地，我就轉唔到，跟住就即係非常之唔好意思咁樣啦。卒之我係冇着鞋咁拍，咁因為如果我繼續夾硬着人哋嘅鞋，因為我真係轉唔到腳，因為我隻腳轉咗嘅時候，我隻鞋轉唔到，跟住再加上係踩住喺個綠幕，即係我哋個綠幕係一塊布嚟嘅，咁跟住再加上係踩住喺個綠幕嗰度啦，我係轉唔到隻鞋，咁所以即係隻鞋冇辦法跟住我隻腳一齊轉，咁所以卒之到最後，咁我就做唔到 踩唔到地，我就做唔到啲動作啦。咁總之咧就即係非常之唔好意思咁樣啦。我得我一個咧，我係冇着鞋嘅喺個廣告裏面。即係我唔知出到嚟個效果會點樣啦。咁但係如果係因為我冇着鞋嘅原因咧，令到個廣告好怪或者唔好睇嘅話，就真係非常之唔好意思。咁係啦，即係以後可能真係要帶多對鞋，just in case 有啲乜嘢問題。因為我隻腳真係好，即係我得我36號鞋咁樣，基本上都冇人隻腳。我諗大家其他借鞋俾我嘅大家嘅腳應該37度啦，我估啊，因為真係我係着唔到即係行路嘅話勉強行到咯。咁行路嘅話你冇乜嘢嘅嘛，即係你吊起隻鞋 eventually 隻鞋都吊得起。咁但係如果話跳舞嘅話，真係唔啱腳嘅鞋踩唔到地，我做唔到啦。尤其是我真係非常之手腳唔協調噶嘛。即係雖然我以前係跟 Joey 爸學跳舞嘅，即係我係熱舞團嘅成員嚟嘅。咁但係我真係好耐冇練習啦。而且我係不嬲，真係對於即係身體動作方面嘅嘢，我堂都係即係即時嘅時候學晒啲 step， 跟住我翻屋企要對住鏡練好耐，跟住先知我要下堂翻去先至可以交到功課。所以你話即時要我做嘅動作，我係真係領悟能力比較差，手腳協調能力比較差。但係其實我覺得好奇怪嘅呢件事，我都唔明點解我手腳協調能力咁差，因為其實我打拳，我係打泰拳㗎。咁但係當然泰拳嗰啲動作好，即係就算嗰啲手腳協調都其實係好跟隨個身體，即係啱嘅嗰啲動作。咁所以嗰啲我就反而協調到咯。咁但係去到跳舞嗰啲我就真係或者一啲我未接觸過嘅動作，我就真係需要啲時間去練習。咁嗰個耍劍咧，其實我係翻到屋企咧攞咗屋企個5磅啞鈴去練嘅。咁但係其實因為嗰個感覺，我覺得拎起手個感覺係有，即係嗰個墜嗰個力係有啲似嘅。但係個問題就係因為始終個啞鈴唔係一個長條形嘅東西啦。咁嗰個墜咗去，個重量墜咗去第二度嘅時候，咁始終係咯，我練咗好幾個禮拜。但係我都係真係耍唔到嗰把劍，我係 hold 唔穩嗰把劍。可能我手會落唔實咁樣，跟住就 hold 唔到把劍，咁就係咯。我搞到即係好在，因為真係個片獨腳都真係好溝嘅一件事，咁所以咧我咁溝咧都可以好似合理咁。好啦，呢個係我藉口嚟啫。Anyway，咁今個禮拜咧，既然我要講少少中文時段，咁我就再跟進下呢個季前賽啦。咁如果大家咧有聽禮拜2嘅 sit down comedy 咧，我哋就同老闆喺度隔空喺度討論呢個季前賽。跟住嗱，季前賽係真係我上個禮拜講嘅時候，我係睇咗3集啦。咁其實係 up till 到嗰晚 sit down comedy 嘅時候，我仍然都係覺得每一集嘅每一個部分每一節都係好好睇、好好笑咁樣。因為其實佢講真，佢真係好即係雖然佢話係一套籃球劇啦，但係其實我諗每一集裡面真係打籃球嘅 scene 可能係得1-2場戲係打籃球嘅啫。咁其他時候其實我覺得係 more like 一個用籃球包裝嘅一套 drama 咁樣啦。咁我覺得佢個人物刻畫其實係不錯嘅，即係有啲，因為佢係其實但係其實都有道怪嘅，因為佢個劇其實 ViuTV 都有時我都唔知係咪佢哋剪接嘅人員嘅問題啦。因為係怪在咧，即係例如一套劇裡面有好多個人咁樣啦，咁成隊籃球隊例如嗰5-6個人嘅故事咁樣，其實每個人咧都有佢自己嘅故事。 咁但係有時候咧，佢哋就會可能成集就會 concentrate 咗，淨係關於一個人嘅故事。咁但係嗰一集咧就會係變得同籃球又完全冇關係啊，跟住又同劇裡面嘅其他角色又完全冇關係啊。咁即係可能嗰一集裡面，即係例如有一集就主要係講193嘅。咁跟住嗰一集咧，就基本上就係得193啦。跟住可能有一兩個人其他人啦。咁但係嗰一集就會忽然之間，你會完全見唔到其他，例如 Stanley 啊、姜濤啊、Ian 啊咁嗰啲。咁 Ian 其實好多集都係冇出現嘅，因為佢係敵對嗰一隊嘅球員咁樣啦。咁就我會覺得就有少少奇怪咯，剪接呢方面。咁而且亦都有一個我覺得好多 view 劇嘅共通問題，就係佢初開波嘅時候，即係就會寫佢其實係寫得，例如呢一套劇為例啦，咁佢係每一個人物其實都有佢自己嘅故事啦，咁就都刻畫得仔細嘅，即係個別人物啦，有啲會多啲，有啲會少啲咁樣啦。你例如193嗰條故事線嘅話咧，咁就係講佢係原本即係又係李新先啦。我唔係193 fans 嚟，但係佢呢套劇令到我對佢好都幾刮目相看嘅。咁佢嗰個故事線就係話佢即係因為讀緊書嘅時候就犯咗事，咁就坐咗監，咁跟住佢係好有悔意啊成啊，咁出到嚟之後就即係都係頹頹地咁樣啦，咁但係一路都係過唔到自己嗰個內疚嗰一關咁樣啦。咁跟住然後有俾佢發揮到，例如佢發揮佢嘅囂張係佢平時嘅 default mode 咁樣啦，佢平時都 act very 囂張，咁但係亦都俾佢有啲比較細膩嘅感情位係俾佢發揮到嘅，咁所以亦都令我好刮目相看啦。咁但係 view 劇就其中一個問題就係，例如你會刻畫咗呢啲咁嘅人物啦，你會開始寫呢啲人物嘅故事。咁例如而家去到睇到第9集，係啦，去到琴晚係第9集嘅時候，因為呢套劇其實係只係得15集嘅啫，咁佢就好似開咗好多條故事線出嚟，呢套都還好少少，即係我都可以想像到佢可以點樣 tie up loose ends 咁樣樣。但係好多時候就係，但係你都會覺得好 rush 咯，即係你開咗咁多個故仔，開咗咁多個人物嘅故事嘅時候，你而家係得返6集，跟住有啲人物嘅故事，例如肥仔嘅故事啦，咁肥仔係即係去到呢2集嚟講，就係覺得佢好似係網上溝女，跟住應該係俾人呃咁樣樣嘅，即係有睇過預告片就係見到應該今晚嗰集就揭發佢係俾人呃嘅。咁但係其實都係得返5集啫嘛，但係有咁多個人開晒啲故事線嘅話，咁就會你刻畫到個人物幾深刻都好，就係好似你 introduce 咗呢個人嘅 background 嗰啲都寫得好好，或者拍得都幾好咁樣。你 introduce 咗呢啲人出嚟之後，但係你係冇時間俾佢個 character 再 develop 啊，冇時間再俾佢有啲乜嘢嘢往後嘅故事，跟住 tie up loose ends 咁啦。咁其實例如到而家為止，你都係我估佢真係佢嗰個佢就冇去，因為而家係直情講緊嗰個主角嗰一隊啦，即係有姜濤嗰一隊啦。其實佢哋都係未去到一個可以打到比賽嘅狀態咁樣嘅。咁所以其實咁當然呢個我諗呢個係佢個古仔，我諗佢係想寫一啲人物嘅成長 ，instead of 真係講籃球。咁就我覺得如果可能俾多5集佢嘅話咧，我覺得個故事即係我而家係預計啦，因為我覺得仲得返6集嘅時候，可能就會完得好草率咁樣樣，同埋好嘥咗寫咗每一個人物嘅一啲 background， 或者你 build up 咗佢個 character 之後，咁但係跟住佢冇故事嘅，咁就係好浪費咯。我就覺得呢樣嘢。咁同埋而且咁其實咧 喺 sit down comedy 嘅時候咧，老闆就話，因為我話一定好睇過男排女將啦，但係老闆就係覺得冇撚可能嘅。Which is 對我嚟講，其實我覺得好 surprise 嘅，因為男排女將個節奏真係好怪，即係對我嚟講啦，因為佢係會無端端可能好密集咁樣講2個月嘅事，跟住一 skip 就 skip 咗1年之後嘅事啦。咁但係而嗰個我唔知係因為 acting 嘅問題啦，即係因為老闆大陣轉頭就會再講 The School for Good and Evil， 咁老闆講咗係即係一啲年輕演員嘅 acting 會好影響咁樣啦。咁我唔知係 acting 嘅問題定點樣樣啦。咁但係總之我係睇得。即係你講，即係例如男排女將嗰陣時，佢 skip 嗰啲可能無端端一 skip 1年，再 skip 又 skip 1年。但係對我嚟講嗰啲 characters， 我係睇唔到佢哋即係1年前後嗰個變化嗰啲咧。咁我係覺得，同埋佢好多男排女將係超級多空鏡，啲空鏡多到咧係我之前係睇嘅，因為我唔係 live 睇電視咁睇啦，咁我都係睇重溫啦。我係佢每一個空鏡，我係要撳3下嗰個加10秒嗰個掣，我先飛得走晒啲空鏡。跟住嗰個節奏係，即係男排女將係一個你係絕對可以雙開做住其他嘢，玩住電話去睇嘅一套劇。但係季前賽就會，因為佢其實佢好多我諗佢算係一套笑片多啲啦。咁佢好多 gag 都係即係可能1句説話、2句説話咁樣樣。咁所以你又或者可能因為導演係拍開一啲短片啦、廣告啦、MV 啦、電影啦，佢嗰啲就會好快啊，咁就會係如果即係我有時我睇住嘅時候，我喺度聽緊節目咁樣嘅時候啦，咁我就會 miss 咗個劇情啦。咁所以我覺得因為節奏快對於一個戲劇好唔好睇，即係節奏對於一個戲劇好唔好睇就好大嘅影響啦。即係例如又講一講翻獨腳刀先啦。獨腳刀咧，我想講喺老闆未剪走啲 extra 嘅嘢嘅時候咧，因為我有睇到初順翻嗰個次序嗰啲片咧，講真我係覺得幾悶下，即係難聽講，即係我之前佢個第一個 cut 我係睇咗，我諗我第一個 cut 即係第1、2集我都有睇嘅，咁但係就會覺得好唔明快咯。咁但係而家咧你睇獨腳刀你就會覺得，喂，我係要較慢啲睇先至可以睇到啲 details 啊。咁但係就係咁樣先至好睇，即係如果慢慢拖慢俾你睇嘅話，你就會覺得喂好悶啊咁樣樣。因為而家嗰個速度係快到你其實係追唔到噶嘛，你個腦係追唔到噶嘛。咁所以你先至會或者可以想睇多2次咁樣樣去睇清楚晒啲 details 啊，或者個故仔係講咩啊，或者打鬥啊咁樣樣，咁就係即係呢個係一個節奏嘅問題咯。同埋好耐之前，即係我初嚟做主持冇耐嘅時候，我好記得老闆問過我個問題，即係唔知我哋喺度討論其他 YouTubers 咁樣樣啦，跟住佢就話：你知唔知我哋同佢哋個分別最大嘅分別係乜嘢嘢？跟住我嗰陣時其實我都 get 到，因為我即係有時嗰啲其他 YouTubers 就好似我覺得好悶咁嘅，因為我其實係唔中意睇，我係唔係好中意睇嗰啲 YouTube 嗰啲片嘅，我又唔係好中意睇嗰啲 YouTube 嗰啲清談嗰啲咁樣，即係 which is very strange 啦，因為即係話晒我都係一個主持人咁，但係其實我唔係特別中意睇嗰啲節目嘅。咁最大個分別就係個節奏嘅分別啦，因為我哋嘅台。大家講嘢嗰個節奏係偏快嘅，即係而家有晏晝重播翻傾偈會啦，你就會睇到老闆以前講嘢係真係超級快。以前因為我好耐之前，即係初我聽老闆嘅時候咧，我係絕對冇辦法較快嚟聽，但係後尾漸漸地，我係以為自己 get used to 較快，我可以越較越快，越較越快。老闆嘅節目我諗去到盡，我係可以較1.5倍速聽。咁但係如果係講緊，如果佢而家個做節目仲係好似以前傾偈會做節目嗰個速度嘅話咧，你係冇撚可能1.5倍速聽咯，你聽唔撚到噶啦嘛。 以節奏快，即係一路以嚟，同埋亦都到拍劇啊、拍廣告嘅時候，我好多次，我基本上每一次俾老闆鬧咧，都係我講嘢節奏嘅問題啦，就係覺得點解我講嘢好似每個字都有尾音啊 ，which is 我都係唔知點解嘅。即係我有時我做節目嘅時候，我覺得我講嘢係可以講快啲嘅，咁但係因為你劇集你有劇本嗰啲咧，因為我老闆又話我講嘢好唔清楚，講嘢有尾音啦，有口音啦，咁同埋講嘢好慢，跟住佢就會覺得佢每一次都係威脅我講嘢，我再講嘢講得咁慢嘅，我就 cut 我氣氛。即係我揮唔到把劍都未 cut 我氣氛，但我講嘢講得慢我就 cut 我氣氛咁樣啦。咁所以節奏呢樣嘢真係我一路咁多年嚟經過老闆嘅教誨，我知道節奏係要快嘅。咁我亦都好習慣啲節奏好快嘅嘢啦，即係我習慣其實例如現代嘅戲劇節奏都係比起可能幾廿年前快好多咁啦。雖然幾廿年前都有啲戲劇係奇怪地。你睇翻嘅時候，哇咁快嘅套戲，即係例如for example，我忽然間諗到一套戲就係《回魂夜》啦，《回魂夜》嘅節奏係超級快嘅，跟住係咯，即係嗰啲就係比較即係以嗰個年代嚟講，你會覺得哇咁快嘅，咁但係我唔知啦，即係可能因為我又比較我睇得少啲中文片，但係如果以西片嚟講，以前嗰個年代啲戲係真係慢好多嘅。咁但係而家總之今時今日乜嘢戲都好，個節奏都係快㗎啦。節奏慢嗰啲，例如韓劇嗰啲，我係冇辦法睇落去。有時日本啲劇咧，如果節奏都係慢啲，比較唯美啲啊、藝術感啲嗰啲咧，我都係冇辦法睇落去嘅，因為我已經太習慣嗰個超級快嘅節奏。咁係啦，咁所以咧季前賽我覺得個節奏係幾好，因為佢係真係空鏡冇乜。我有試過，因為有時咧我睇節目啊，或者甚至乎做節目嘅時候雙開住睇緊咁啊，即係因為禮拜二晚我要聽 sit down comedy，一定要聽啊嘛，唔可以唔聽啊嘛。咁我個心就主要喺 sit down comedy 嗰度，咁我另外就會開住季前賽。咁禮拜四夜晚我做歐記外國勢力嘅時候，咁季前賽有時未做完噶嘛，咁我又會一心二用咁樣。咁我其實就會 miss 咗好多劇情啦。咁我會開翻嚟睇嘅，跟住我開翻嚟睇，我就會諗緊，我其實好快啫，我 skip 住咁睇，咁咪好快睇完咯。咁但係跟住我睇嘅時候，我發現真係其實冇乜位俾我 skip。咁所以節奏上佢係做得幾好嘅，咁但係咧有一樣嘢咧，我就即係睇埋今個禮拜之後咧，我就有個位真係想吐槽，因為佢其實係我諗佢有好多抄其他戲劇或者致敬，我都唔知抄定致敬啦叫做，跟住又或者有好多幻想場面咁樣啦，即係例如。上星期有一個就係 Yoyo 同姜濤嘅初次見面嗰個幻想場面，喺 Yoyo 嘅幻想裏面咧就係一套日劇咁樣嘅，跟住然後就會有個幻想場面無端講日文嘅，跟住琴晚嗰集咧無端有幻想場面係講韓文嘅，咁跟住中間有啲無端端又變咗古裝啊。跟住最離譜就係sit down comedy 嗰一晚咧，咁我喺個 chat room 嗰度都同個聽眾喺度討論緊嗰個問題，就係因為我係有啲好九唔搭八，又係即係好多幻想場景咁樣樣啦，跟住 Yoyo 喺扮忍者咁樣樣啦，跟住但係嗰一幕係我以為自己撳咗嗰個從頭開始嗰個掣啊，因為我見到嗰一幕係重複咗2次喎，跟住我係喺緊做乜鳩啊，即係你用差唔多成接近半集唔夠半集，可能1/3集嘅時間咧，就係喺度玩扮忍者、執屋啊、匿埋啊，跟住仲要係重複2次喎。即係我唔知呢個係咪因為抄 Pop Team Epic 啦，而我係即係我知道好多人中意睇 Pop Team Epic，但係我係真係完全接受唔到，我完全睇唔撚明，我唔知個好笑位喺邊，同埋佢 repeat 2次令到我好掹憎。所以我係冇辦法睇 Pop Team Epic 嘅，我係理解唔到呢件事。即係如果有人可以解釋下俾我聽 Pop Team Epic 個趣味喺邊嘅話，咁就好啦。即係我都希望揾到個趣味位去睇下，究竟點解好睇，點解好笑。咁 佢就嗰啲幻想位咧，好似有少少做到 over 咗，有少少走火入魔咁咯，太多咯。咁而令到我開始有啲厭咯，對於嗰啲幻想場景咁樣，因為好多嘢因為佢其實套劇嘅劇情係夠豐富嘅，係唔需要夾硬塞，即係嗰啲可能2-3分鐘嘅話我都仲忍受到，但係如果你去到個幻想場景係玩成2-3個字咁樣咧，我就覺得你不如剪短啲算啦。咁係啊，咁但係除此之外嘅話，今個星期嘅季前賽咧，我就覺得好似向咗認真少少嘅方向啦。咁但係當然都仲係有好多 comic relief 嘅位嘅。咁但係就開始多啲講認真嘅方向，可能多啲講teamwork 啊嗰啲咁嘅東啊。即係可能因為今個禮拜係有少少個 focus， 有啲集數就 shift 咗去 Ian 嗰度啦。佢嗰個部分就叫做可能認真少少嘅劇情咁樣，咁就係咯，認真少少啦。今個星期就唔係每一節都係淨係喺度狂笑咁樣嘅一個電視劇啦，就開始有少少認真啦。咁但係其實都仲係有好多即係笑嘅位嘅，好多 comic relief 嘅位，即係例如去到琴晚嗰集就係講，即係例如姜濤嘅阿媽童愛玲，我哋之前嗰排啊，我哋咪拍咗嗰個電信廣告嘅，即係嗰個記者會嗰個廣告嘅，跟住講和記電信嘅，我哋嗰期先至喺度討論緊，即係咁多年嚟阿黎明個阿 May 咁樣咧，跟住又講起童愛玲，跟住琴晚係啦，做姜濤阿媽就係童愛玲咯，即係我哋之前諗幾都諗唔到佢叫咩名，我哋後尾卒之我係要 Google 嗰呢個女仔叫咩名咧？咁當然係年紀大咗童愛玲啦。咁琴晚嗰集就係即係有啲比較 serious 嘅位咯，咁就但係唔係唔好睇嘅，咁但係因為我一路都當佢係一套笑片睇啦，咁就係咯，咁但係其實笑嘅位都仍然係好多係好好睇嘅，即係琴晚有一部分又係嗰啲幻想情節，well not exactly 嘅，嗰個都現實嘅。就變咗拍咗一節係抄王家衛嘅咁樣，咁其實係好笑同好睇嘅，咁輕輕鬆鬆咁睇套劇嘅話，我真係覺得係幾不錯嘅。我 compare to 差不多每一套 ViuTV 嘅劇，我都覺得呢一套係比較好嘅。可能會差不多好睇，可能係大叔的愛咯咁但係大叔的愛唔係即係買翻嚟㗎嘛。個劇本個故仔，咁但係如果以 ViuTV 自己原創嘅嚟講，我覺得呢一套嘅故事啦、execution 啦，甚至乎個別演員啦，都會令我耳目一新咁樣啦。咁所以係咯，咁睇完大結局之後，仲有冇嘢講咯？我估冇噶啦，其實我都係想再 elaborate 少少啫。嗰日喺度喺場嗰度老闆喺度拗呢個問題，所以我想 elaborate 翻，同埋即係因為我上個禮拜對佢個期望係再高啲嘅，咁今個禮拜係有少少即係拉翻低少少，咁但係我都仍然覺得係非常好睇嘅。咁係咯，你哋得閒都睇下啦。咁我轉頭翻嚟就 English Channel 時間。Hi guys, welcome back to the English portion of the show. So last week I said I was gonna talk about the School for Good and Evil, but then the boss ended up talking about it in the afternoon show on Monday. Well, he didn't really talk about it. He just said it's really shit and he doesn't recommend anybody watching it. So I guess I can still kind of tell you a bit about the storyline because he didn't say anything about that at all. I feel like the story isn't that shit. It's just that the execution is horrible. But I'll talk about that later. I actually also watched like 3 or 4 episodes of Cabinet of Curiosity. I find it a little slow, but I do enjoy it kind of, but it's a little slow, so maybe I'll talk about it next week or maybe not. I suppose if you guys would watch it, you'd have watched it already. And maybe some of you have already watched The School for Good and Evil too. But anyway, so basically the story is about, last week how, I don't know if it was caught on sound. Like last week when I was making the video and then Lawrence was like, it was really boring. The first 5 minutes was like 2 gay men fighting, dueling. And then when I watched it, I realized they're not 2 gay men at all. They're 2 brothers. But anyway, so the story is basically about a school like the Hogwarts. It's like a magical school, something like that. But it's about how the school is to train the heroes and villains in fairy tales. So it's the school is in a very fairy tale world. But our 2 main characters are heroines of the story. They're from this like little town in a very medieval setting, like a little medieval town. And then how they don't want to stay in that town because they're outcasts and all that. And so they wished to, one of the girls who believed that she would become a princess one day, who's really obsessed with fairy tales. When she heard about the school, she wished to enter the school. So she and her best friend, they were transported to the school. Up to here, the one thing that I get really, really, really distracted, actually, throughout the whole movie, because it's in such a medieval setting, there are way too many colored people. Way too many black, way too many Asians, way too many non-white people in a medieval setting. And that's really distracting to me. Like, in the school, it's a little better because it's all magical and fairy tale and all that. So that I could accept. But in the medieval portion, the medieval town that the 2 girls lived in, there are too many black people in a medieval setting. Like, I'm not really that, I'm still a little liberal. Like, I'm lenient towards casting of colored people. But I cannot stand it when people of different races appear in a setting where they're not supposed to appear in. So that's one thing that I get really distracted about. Like, and the other thing is because it's such a fairy tale story, it's in the medieval world, you know how there's a tone to that kind of story, like maybe in Harry Potter. Like, I guess Harry Potter is something that we're all very familiar with. If we watch Harry Potter movies, there's a language of that kind of story or that kind of setting. And in the movie, actually when we entered the school part, the fairy tale school part of the story, it becomes a little better because the older characters, they do talk with that fairy tale, medieval, magical tone. But the younger actors in the story, especially in the very beginning where it was just the 2 girls in the very medieval town, it was really strange to me because their dialogue, their conversations, and their tones, it's very, very modern. It'd be like they'd say things like, cool, awesome, and in a very high school kind of way. So the dialogue felt like it was like high school drama, but set in a medieval setting, which made it very weird. But the older characters, like the teachers, the professors in the school, they do talk in that, to me, correct tone for this setting. So that's another thing that kept me quite distracted throughout the movie. But actually I do like the storyline of the movie. I mean, like, it's not super... I mean, of course, it's a young adult kind of story, so it's not very sophisticated, but then the story is not that bad. So the two girls, they went to the school, and then somehow the girl who thought she was going to be a princess was thrown into the evil school, and the other girl is a black girl, and the black girl was thrown into the good school, and then blah blah blah, and then because so the girl who thought she was gonna be a princess is called Sophie, and the black girl's called Agatha. So Sophie believed that she was thrown into the wrong school, and actually even in this school it's in another world. It's supposed to be a different world from where the reality world, and they're stuck in the school. They can't go back to their homes, and they can't switch schools, and Agatha keeps trying to save Sophie from the evil school, and Sophie is really self-centered. And she's a horrible character. I feel like she belongs in the evil school. But then anyway, I mean, like, and some of the costumes are really shit. So anyway, so there's a way for a student in the school of evil to become good. And it's to get true love's kiss, like in all fairy tales. All the princesses or princes get the true love's kiss, and then they live happily ever after. And so both Sophie and Agatha schemed to find a prince for her to kiss, to get the true love's kiss, so Sophie can go to the school of good. Yeah. So obviously Sophie became evil, and of course they're very like corny storylines about how Agatha tries to move Sophie to become good again, asking her if she remembered that they were good friends, blah blah blah. And then, well, eventually it was a happy ending for them because they were not supposed to be in the school anyway. And then, oh yeah, in the end the true love's kiss actually came from Agatha, because Sophie like sacrificed herself for Agatha in the end, even though she became evil, but she still remembered her friend, blah blah blah. And then Sophie died, and then Agatha gave her a kiss and then cried, and then her wound healed, and then she came back to life, and they could leave the story. And maybe the theme of the story is that we're all human, and no humans 100% good or 100% bad. Okay, the story is actually a little more complicated than that. I made it like sound really stupid, but then the story itself is really not too bad. I mean, like, it kept me guessing. Like, it made me want to continue watching. I mean, like, I didn't want to turn it off, even though I was so distracted by the shitty acting and colored people weird dialogue. I was distracted by all that, but the story did keep me guessing, and I wanted to know what would come next, because I thought it's like, I thought Sophie was evil anyway. I didn't think there would be anything good would come out of it. But yeah, the story was okay. But it's really executed really, really, really badly. And the thing about the weird dialogue, which I was most distracted by, our boss explained it on Monday, how they're probably just really immature actors. Like, they just can't act out the emotions or the changes of a teenager, because they're just not sophisticated actors. They're very new. Let me see. And it seems like there would be a sequel, and I hope if there's a sequel that they would act better. I don't know. It's just because the main thing, and then, so that's really it about the School for Good and Evil. But I actually wanted to talk about like the young adult genre, because our boss talked about how he really likes to watch young adult TV series and movies. I actually don't. And I actually don't think our boss really likes young adult TV series or movies. I think he only likes those high school bitchy young adult movies and series. Like the ones that he likes, you know, like Mean Girls, Clueless, all that. They're really about bitches in high school. So I think that's what he likes. He doesn't really like the whole of the young adult genre. But actually, I personally don't really like the young adult movies or TV series, but I do read a lot of young adult books, which is something that our boss likes to watch movies more, but I like, or TV series, or in the video format. But for me, especially for the young adult genre, I like to read it more, because most of the time, I do think like 9 out of 10 of the young adult series, they're really shit. Or movies, they're like super shit. Like, especially if it's adapted from a book, because most of the time I would read the book first and then see the movie or the TV series, and most of the time it's shit. So I really much prefer reading young adult books. But actually, when I was a young adult myself, when I was a teenager or when I was a preteen, I started reading like books for adults really early on. And you know how kids are. Kids don't really like things that are made for their age. Kids want to become an adult and read adult things. So when I was really young, when I was in my teens, actually, I didn't read that many young adult books. When I was in my teens, when I was like about 11 or 12, my favorite author was actually Anne Rice, who wrote vampire novels, like The Interview with the Vampire and that series. And it's a very serious, very adult book. And that's what I liked when I was a younger child. And a lot of the other young adult books I actually started reading when I was older, like books like Twilight. I was an adult when Twilight came out, and things like Hunger Games. There are other books, I can talk about that later. And both Hunger Games and Twilight, when adapted into movie, both are so shit. Like, Twilight, I went into the cinema, I watched maybe like 10 minutes of it, I wanted to leave. Twilight is one of the shittiest movies. One of the shittiest book adaptations that I've seen, really. Even like Twilight is written in a very unsophisticated language. I feel like a lot of the young adult books, they are written in quite an unsophisticated language, but it was, well, of course it's a little easier. The vocabulary, the wordings, it would be a little easier for like younger readers. So maybe that's why I found it very like juvenile. But anyway, more on that later. But the books that I did read really as a child or as a young adult or as a teen was Christopher Pike, which I talked about a few weeks ago. When I talked about the Midnight Club. Christopher Pike is a very good young adult author. He's not like overly juvenile, like he tries to treat his readers as adults as well, but of course the stories in the books are still more like young adult. It's a lot about growing up. The characters are all teenagers, and all that. But I talked about Christopher Pike already. But I feel like there aren't many, or I haven't really read a lot of, like, actually Chinese young adult novels. Because young adult novels is a really, really big thing in the States. Like, in the bookstore, there's a whole section for young adults, and I really like shopping there. I love young adult books. As an adult, I really like young adult books. And it's a really big thing. And also, they actually do, like, apart from these short, like, maybe trilogies, like Hunger Games is a trilogy, Twilight is a 4-book series. Apart from these like shorter series, there are other young adult series which are like super, 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 super long. And there are like hundreds of books in the series and the characters don't go old. Of course, I never questioned that. Oh shit, my phone's like running out of battery. Hold on. Of course, as like a child, I never really like questioned it. Because one of the series that I read the most when I was growing up was the Sweet Valley series. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it was quite big back in the 90s, 80s, 90s. The series is actually from a more child-oriented. There are 3 series in the Sweet Valley series. So there's like Sweet Valley Twins, which is when they are in middle school and things that happen in the middle school. And there's Sweet Valley High, which is when they're in high school, obviously. And there's also Sweet Valley University when they're in university, obviously. But in every single, these 3 series, there are like hundreds of books, like hundreds of stories. And the story surrounds these 2 girls, these twins. One's like Jessica and one's Elizabeth Wakefield. And Jessica is the fun, outgoing one. And Elizabeth is the serious, bookish, nerdy kind of girl. So it's about these 2 polar opposites who are twins, and obviously the outgoing, it's really stereotyped, like Jessica, like the outgoing one's like a cheerleader and all that. And as a child, I really enjoyed those stories. Like, also usually these young adult novels would talk about like love, friendship, growing up, struggles with parents, things like that. And I wouldn't say I could really relate to all that because the setting of the story is set in the United States. It's set in California. And of course it's like super different from our environment in Hong Kong. And like in Sweet Valley Twins, when they're just entering middle school, I think they're probably like 12 going on 13. And they would start dating and stuff like that. And for a child living in Hong Kong, of course, like especially back 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, like, of course your parents won't let you date people when you're that young. So it's a really different thing. So it's like I was really looking forward, like I guess this series made me want to go to the States. It's like their high school or their middle school seems so fun, and it's so different. And it's about, because, and I also went to an all-girls school when I was a child, when I was in primary school, so it felt like something so different, something that, like, it was an age when I wanted to start to meet boys and I wasn't allowed to, so I found my boys, I found my dates in the books. And of course, looking back, a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like, say, because when I was younger, I would want to become Jessica more. I want to become the outgoing, popular one more than being the bookish, nerdy one, obviously. But obviously I was really bookish too. But then I was also quite outgoing when I was a child. And so, but looking back, you will find it like, a lot of it didn't make sense. Like, each book is a story about the twins. And there are hundreds and hundreds of books about the twins. And each novel, I mean, like, it's not that short. I mean, like, sometimes, like, Jessica's the one who dated more boys. But a lot of times, like, I remember that she had boyfriends who died. But in the next book, she's, like, back to normal and she starts dating other boys. And things like that, that's those things don't make sense. I mean, like, and how can you have, like, 100 adventures just in high school or 100 adventures just in middle school? And it's like, why did they not grow older? Like, things like that. But then as a child, as a teenager, I didn't think too much of it. You're not supposed to think too much of it. It's like when you watch Doraemon, you wouldn't question why they didn't grow up, why they were like primary school students forever. So it's kind of like that kind of concept. Like, they were just stuck in middle school, stuck in high school, and they had all these adventures. But to a child, especially to a child who didn't have that many adventures, that was a really great escape or a good thing for me to, like, look forward to. Like, I wanted to, because I think it was partly because of Sweet Valley High, partly because I wanted to go to Hollywood and become an actress, partly because there's Universal Studios and Disneyland in California. That's why I wanted to go study in California from a very, very, very young age. So the Sweet Valley series really contributed to this idea for me to go to the States to study. And I think, but for these young adult books, because say like Sweet Valley Middle is actually targeted for kids a little younger than middle school kids, and like Sweet Valley High is targeted to kids who are a little before high school, so probably middle school kids. And Sweet Valley University is probably targeted for high school students, because I think young adult novels is something, especially in a series like the Sweet Valley series, it's something for you to look forward to. Like, you look forward to high school and you want to prepare yourself for high school. So you want to read about high school, or you want to prepare yourself, or you wonder what it's like in university. So you read about them. You read about stories happening in a university and things like that. So it's something that's targeted for an age a little younger than the main character's age. And I think, like this book, I said before, like Christopher Pike influenced me the most when I was a child. And I believe the Sweet Valley series, it didn't exactly, like, it didn't influence me in a way that, like, it didn't change my mindset. It didn't really build up my character or personality or anything. But it made me expect things in the future. It told me about things, like before going to university, I was reading Sweet Valley University. So I would know about things in university because I read Sweet Valley University. So I knew what was coming up. Actually, I do have something interesting about, well, it's just really brief, about Sweet Valley University and something else, but my 30 minutes is almost up. I have to start a new video, so hold on, be right back. Okay, I'm back again. So yeah, the sweet, I don't know if you guys saw the Thursday morning show, how Ivan talked about the Chinese university incident where they made the guy drink and he eventually got alcohol poisoning and got sent to the hospital. Like that thing. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but and you probably don't know why I'm talking about that. It's because when I was reading Sweet Valley University when I was in high school, so I was expecting to go to university in the States, and I had been reading all about university, like university life from Sweet Valley University. So I knew about like sororities and fraternities, and how they would do hashing for the new recruits, for the new sisters and brothers. Actually, I was reading, and you know, in real life, actually, there are people who die from alcohol poisoning or die from the hashing activities to join a fraternity. I don't think these things happen that much in sororities, but in fraternities, it happens once in a while. So it's the hashing process. But I find it really strange that just going to live in one particular dorm, you'd have to go through a hashing process. I mean, like, joining a fraternity or joining a sorority is different because you want to join them to, so like, if you guys know about fraternities and sororities, it's how you become brothers and sisters with these other students, and then you're brothers and sisters for life. You're making connections for the future. So you will have like different chapters of the same fraternity or sorority, and then if you go to the other chapters, they would welcome you as one of their own and things like that. And these connections last a lifetime. Like even it's quite expensive to join sororities and fraternities. And when I read about it in Sweet Valley University, I really looked forward to that kind of life because it seems really fun. Like, of course, there's a lot of parties between, like, among the sororities and fraternities, and it seemed so fun. It was something that I really wanted to do when I went to university. So I did go to, I didn't join in the end, so I didn't go through any of the hashing, so I wouldn't know for sure what a hashing would look like in real life. But I did go to the orientation, like, because I did want to join the sorority. So in uni, the first week of school, it's like orientation week, and then you can also go to sorority or fraternity, because I'm a girl, so of course I'd be going to the sorority orientation, and then you get to visit, I can't remember if it was like 12 houses or 18 houses. I went to UCLA, so I went to the different houses to like the sorority members, they would introduce their houses to you and tell you what great people came out of their house. Things like that. And then they would interview you preliminarily before you actually pick a house. And they would interview you and you can ask them questions. And then I went to the sorority. Oh, I remember what's that called now. It's called Rush. It's sorority Rush. It's to visit all the different sororities and try to find a sorority that's right for you, kind of. So I went, and I ended up, well, part of the reason why I didn't join, a very big part, is that you have to pay a fee to join the sorority. I think it was 12,000 when it was, yeah, I think it was 12,000 when I was in UCLA. And but you join for life, and then for the first year you don't get to live in the house. The second year you can apply to live in the house, and it's actually cheaper than the actual dorms, and it's really quite fun. I mean, like, the houses, they have a maid. Like, I don't know if it's true for all different sorority houses, but in UCLA, the houses that I visited, they had a maid, they had a cleaning lady. They had someone to cook you, they employed someone to, like, cook you breakfast and stuff like that, which seems really happy. But then it was really expensive. And apart from being super expensive, the girls that I met during Rush, they're all like bimbos. It's like, they'll be like, I'll try to imitate them. They'll be like, oh, hi, Joey. So where are you from? I'll be like, oh, I'm from Hong Kong. And they'll be like, oh my god, Hong Kong, that is so cool. Is it like in Japan? You know, like, the girls were like that. And then I was like, I don't think I can stand living with these girls for 4 years. I don't think I can stand being sisters with these girls. So yeah, that's the other part of the reason why I didn't join. But then, but it's mostly the financial problem, because I knew that there are like benefits, like good benefits throughout life. If you join, you'd have like people to help you, you'd have connections for life, and obviously they are, if they could pay that fee to join the sorority or fraternity, they are the richer kids in the school. So you'd have better connections, and they're really closely knit, and because how they are like super closely knit, so the hashing process seemed more reasonable, kind of. You know how our boss talked about how in military and in prisons they do the same thing? That's to create the bond. I mean, like, of course it's a very questionable way, but it works, to create a actual like really close-knit bond between the people in that process. So yeah, I kind of understood that part about the CU incident, but it's just a regular dorm. I mean, like, you aren't joining a fraternity. Like, why do all that hashing? It just seemed really weird to me. So yeah, that's me talking about Sweet Valley University and how it made me look forward to university so much. I look forward to sorority so much, but yeah, it's kind of a pity that I didn't join. But then I didn't even finish college, so that's a bigger pity. So that's another thing. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about, the Sweet Valley series, because it did make me, it gave me expectations about what I would meet, what life is gonna bring me, like in high school or in university, or like that's how most young adult novels are. Like the books would help you foresee struggles, like growing up struggles or stuff like that, or life struggles, things like that. But then actually most of the young adult novels that I do enjoy as an adult, like, because my charger, I'm really into the fantasy genre, as I said before. So the because a lot of the fantasy books, I in a way I really like fantasy, but I don't really like the super long epic fantasies. Like, I'm really sorry to say I did not enjoy Lord of the Rings at all. I don't know, and I didn't watch Game of Thrones. It's too complicated. I don't know, it got me confused, and everything's so grim. Because in young adult fantasies, things aren't that grim. So for me, it's more fun. And yeah, I just want to introduce you guys a few of the series that I do enjoy. And I don't know if you guys have read them before. No, I talked about Christopher Pike. I talked about Sweet Valley. And let me see. Okay, I talked about Twilight. Twilight, you guys probably... I don't recommend... Even though the movie's really shit, and I did read all the Twilight books, and I did enjoy the books, but I don't really recommend the books. Because the writing is super unsophisticated, and even the story is actually really juvenile, but somehow it's a page turner. It made me want to finish the whole book, like the whole series, and I enjoyed it, and I'm a little ashamed of enjoying it. Because in the end, it's a little stupid, but it's a page turner. But of the same author as Twilight, Stephenie Meyer did have another book that I did enjoy a lot. She probably came out with more other books, but I didn't read them. But she came out with The Host. It's about an alien life form and a girl. And that is... it's borderline young adult and adult, I think. It's not too juvenile. So when I read it as an adult, I quite liked it. The book's called The Host. So it's about this alien life form sharing a body with a girl. Yep. And it's actually quite... I can't remember the exact storyline, but it's really enjoyable. And I think, as I remember, I probably cried in the end. So I feel like if you are gonna judge Stephenie Meyer as a writer, if you only judge her by Twilight, then maybe it's a little unfair to her, even though that is her most notable work. But I think The Host is so much better. And I talked about Hunger Games. I think the movie was really shit as well. I cannot... because the Hunger Games, I think they probably cut out way too much of the story in the movie. And it made the movie... a lot of it to me didn't make that much sense because I read the book and the book is so much more detailed and there is progression of the character in the book. But in the movie, everything's too abrupt. So I didn't like the movie, and I only watched the first one of the first Hunger Games movie. But I read all the books, and I do recommend the books, the Hunger Games books. Like if you're a young adult fantasy reader, like I am, and probably everybody's read Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter, even though the boss says it's more like children, the target audience is children, but I feel like Harry Potter is one of those books where you grow with the character. Because I actually, when I first read Harry Potter, I was about the same age as Harry Potter in the first book. So Harry Potter is a book where it grew from like a child novel to a young adult novel, I feel like. Even though there's a bit less of the growing up struggles and a bit less of... because most of the young adult novels, there would definitely be a storyline about like love, about boyfriend, girlfriends, things like that. But I guess in Harry Potter there wasn't that much of it. But I don't think Harry Potter is completely children oriented. And another... shit, something fell outside. Maybe it's too windy. I don't know. Another of young adult novels I really enjoy is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. It's definitely more a fantasy. The genre is fantasy, but the character's a bit younger, so it reads more like a young adult novel. Brandon Sanderson also has another series which is more, definitely even more young adult. Let me find... I can't remember the name of the series. Brandon Sanderson books. Because Brandon Sanderson writes a lot of fantasy stories, and he does write very adult oriented books. He also writes really child oriented books, and his adult oriented book, he's writing one of those epic novels, super thick brick like novel series, which is, I'm reading it, but then it takes me a long time to read it. Oh, The Way of Kings is the adult fantasy series. Mistborn is a very good series. Mistborn is a more young adult series which reads lighter. It reads faster because it's not so heavy. It's a little heavy, but it's not like super heavy. So it's more leaning towards a young adult side. And his other series called, I think, is The Way of Kings the new series? I think the new series, okay, I got it right now. Okay, it's called Steelheart series. Yep, I think it's called the Reckoners. The series is called Reckoners, and the first book's called Steelheart. That's a very young adult fantasy novel series, and it reads like super fast. It reads really light, and it's fun, and it's fantastical, it's magical. It's about superheroes. It's about it's a young adult superhero series, and I really enjoy it. And I think I don't know if our audience is like me. I don't know if you guys like reading like younger books, or even if you don't read it yourselves, if you have like children, I do think reading is a really good way to build up language and build up character. And I think if you enjoy reading, you learn so much more about like language. Like if you enjoy reading, you would know so much more. Like if you read English books, then you would learn so much more by reading. That's how I taught my students whenever I had like English students. I tried to make them read, and that's how my godmother got me to read too. She gave me a lot of she gave me books every birthday and Christmas to encourage me to read. And I think if you can let a youngster start reading at a young age, if they enjoy reading like young adult books, I mean like kiddie, childish books, maybe they don't like that much. But if you want to make them read, then there are these choices that you can start with. I think Steelheart, the Reckoner series by Brandon Sanderson, is a very good book for beginning readers. Like, of course, you still need like a certain level of English proficiency, but it's not like they're not difficult books, and they're really interesting. And even as an adult, I really, really enjoyed them. And I think, I don't know if he's gonna write more of that series, but that is a really easy to read series. And if you want something a little more serious, then the Mistborn series is really, really good too. I think they've been talking about like adapting it into a movie, but I hope they never, ever, ever, ever do it. Like, I was really excited at first when they said they were going to make it into a movie, but like thinking more about it, I hope that never happens. I don't want them to ruin another favorite book of mine. So yeah, so that's all for today. I need to go out now. I need to go back to the office. So yeah. So that's all my sharing for today. Thank you for watching. So stay tuned. There's湘傑coming up. I don't know about Tse or 譚仔, but yeah, stay tuned. See you guys next week. Bye.
劈啪樂壇嘅時間，咁咧今日咧就係好抱歉啊，錄嘅時間咧就好倉促，而家係11月4號啊，11月4號下午嘅11點27分啊，係啊2327啊已經，咁咧就因為考緊試啦，midterm 緊啦，但係又要開工啦，又要呢樣嗰樣。結果係冇乜時間錄片嘅咁樣，但係咧冇乜時間錄片咧都要錄片，係啦，你估我係 A 咩？屌乸星，跟住就係啦，都要錄片啦，咁樣就錄咩好咧？我梗係錄翻考試嗰啲嘢啦。考試考咩咧？禮拜一咧就係考《黃帝內經》啦。考《黃帝內經》咧，咁啊考幾多？要考6段嘅。咁其實在下咧就已經作咗4段噶啦，4段咁多噶啦已經。咁唔敢話自己都記得晒啦，但係都稍為溫下都會記得嘅。咁樣就未撚柒驚過，但係咧就仲有2段未背嘅。仲有2段係咩咧？我開翻出嚟先，《靈蘭秘典論》同埋《五臟別論》係啦。咁咧就開出嚟先，俾大家過目下啦。咁啊，今晚咧就想作下佢嘅咁樣樣。哎呀，唔係呢個啊，唔係呢個，唔係呢個，唔係呢個。呢個係啦。咁咧就係呢個《靈蘭秘典論》仲未讀，唔係仲未作，同埋呢個《五臟別論》。咦，其實都唔係好多啫噃。陰陽應象大論，其實上古天真論最長喎。陰陽應象大論都作咗咯，雖然用 blues form 作咗啦咁樣。五臟別論都唔係好長，係啦，咁樣咧就咁啊要作啦。咁就哎呀，醒起啲嘢未做添，喺度處理一啲頒獎嘅職務先。咁有同學咧就查詢咧話嗰個課室咧就好細聲啊，老師講嘢聽唔到。咁咧就係啦，咁就係一個後生女嚟嘅，sport 嘅後生女嚟嘅。咁咧就回覆翻佢先。佢話呢個李慧珍樓嘅111室咧就聽得好辛苦，坐後少少就聽得好辛苦，因為老師講嘢越講越細聲，睇下有冇得整翻正常課室。唉，覆翻佢啦，扮下嘢，話自己咧 sorry。剛剛先收工嗱，我班同學咧今日 day off，個個都係溫書嘅。屌你老味，但係我係開工開到依家2330啊！屌，剛剛先收工就唔好意思，update 翻少少啊，即係講明自己做嘢啊，update 翻少少。今日就去 department 問啊，係啦，今日問 department 咧就話冇，但係咧我哋嗰日咧可以請老師大聲少少咯，有唔明咧 即刻叫佢再講咯。唔好，即刻請老師講多次咯。冇辦法，喊喊喊，好，搞掂。好，為咗展現頒獎嘅能幹呢，我覆埋另外一個同學啦。嗰位同學呢，就係一位姨姨嚟嘅，一位姨姨啊，其實都係頭先嗰個回覆嚟嘅。不好意思啊，佢話啲凳硬得滯喎，硬得滯有冇得轉課室呢？咁呢，就係唯有忍耐一下啦。揀張腍啲嘅凳俾你坐。腍啲嘅腍字點寫啊？個口打平，加個合十。係啦，話啲凳好硬，有冇得轉呢？有冇得喺其他課室嗰度揾啲凳翻嚟呢？係冇嘅。嘿，update 啦，處理完班務啦，跟住咧就要作呢個，一係咧就靈蘭秘典論，一係咧就五臟別論。咁咧在下咧，就其實想用呢首歌好耐㗎，Desenfinado。係啊，Desenfinado啊，睇下先，Jazz 嘅 chord 呢個啊，噠噠滴噠滴噠滴噠噠噠噠，啊係呢個啦，係呢個，噠噠滴噠滴噠噠噠噠噠噠。哒滴哒哒哒滴哒哒哒哒哒，啦哒哒滴哒哒滴哒哒哒，哒哒哒，死啦！啊，揾個 GarageBand 出嚟讀俾大家聽啦。哒滴哒滴哒，會唔會搶咗我呢度啲聲去嘅咧？唔知咧，嗬。會唔會有聲㗎？ 咦，哇屌！呢讀俾大家聽啦。拉過少少好唔好啊？係啦，類似係咁樣嘅。唉，學藝唔精啊，睇譜啊要，唉，濕鳩。de desafinado，哦，冇 n 嘅 desafinando，係啦，係啊，咦，我係冇可能會發錯信息。佢話我發錯信息，係我係冇可能發錯信息，一定係我啱。屌，好，跟住 都唔奇怪嘅。誒誒，仲有咁多噶，屌！啊，邊度揾個完整嘅版本咧？啊，好柒啊！好柒啊！等先，De San Fernando 應該有喎。De San Fernando，等先，我揾翻 iReal Pro 先。iReal Pro 其實我記得我都好長喎。De San Fernando 啊，好長啊，真係好長。哇，屌！係啊，真係好長啊。咁樣嘅喎，哇！仲有個 A 段都16個包。二三四，二三四。哒滴哒哒哒滴哒滴哒哒哒，哒哒哒哒哒滴哒哒哒，哒哒滴哒滴哒滴哒哒滴哒，哒滴哒哒吧滴哒滴哒哒哒。哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒。算啦，都係唔好再呢首，呢首太難，呢首。啊，如果唔用呢首，又想用波薩嘅話咧，仲有邊首波薩我哋識㗎？有首叫做我睇下佢先。For beginners 啊，睇下先，唔係要 call 啊，要歌啊。Bossa Nova Standards，我唔記得咗有邊啲。Standards，Hello 點咪啊？Fly me to the moon 唔係 Mr. PC 唔係 Song for my father，聖 Thomas，唉，聖 Thomas 啦就屌你老母。雖然我唔記得聖 Thomas 係點，聖 Thomas 係點，屌！我以前有條女，佢以前條仔叫做 Thomas，之後我就好撚憎啲人叫 Thomas，對唔住啊，小火車。唉，屌！聖 Thomas，聖 Thomas 好似好短嘅一首歌嚟嘅啫，類似係咁樣，睇下先。喂，大隻啲啦，點撚樣睇啊？可唔可以大啲啊？屌你老母，唔睇你啊！唉，食屎啊！唉，呢個噠噠噠噠噠叭比叭叭叭叭叭，噠噠噠噠噠叭叭叭叭叭叭叭。 咦，好多個版本咁喎。哇，聖 Thomas 啦就。依得多人啊，冇作過 Summer Time 喎，屌，不如作 Summer Time 啦。啊，如果唔得就作 Summer Time 啦，屌。Lester lives in Doxy C Jam Blues 唔好啦，Bex Blues Blue Monk All Blues Summertime Blue Bossa Portion over Standard 唔好啦，唉，算啦，攞翻嗰張 list 出嚟啦。但係嗰張 list 好似真係唔係好多咯，唔係好多 Bossa Standard 噶。點算啊？好柒啊！好柒啊！好柒啊！屌，呢度咦？音樂學習 Jazz Tunes 呢度有啲乜嘢咧？Ricardo 唔識，So Dance Samba 作過，我 Someday My Prince Will Come 都好嘅啫。但我想揾 Bossa 先，死啦！真係唔係好多 Bossa，點算啊？How insensitive 啊！唉咩話？Only You 啊，上次試過咯喎，冇啦冇啦冇。How insensitive 啊！誒，呢首歌咁樣嘅，有冇得即刻 share 㗎？哦，好啦，咁樣啦。好，跟住咧就咧，好可以試下彈俾大家睇啊。One two three four five，二三四，哎呀，類似咁樣，我睇下開唔開到個底先。 開唔開到先？How in？咦，冇啊，冇 how insensitive，冇可能啊！有。哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒咦？慢啲喎，冇咁快喎，大哥。大哥，100啦。類似係咁樣啦，首歌。查啦吧啦吧已經。唔係啊，冇啊，唔好喺度。好，我試下唱一次先。頭先個琴嘅效果麻麻地。好啊，好好聽首歌，但係我嫌佢唔夠的散 finado 爛。屌，我下次一定要作的散 finado，撲你個街聽熟佢先，次次都話要作，次次都唱唔夠唱到。我仲爭同我啲同學挑戰我 Only You 同埋 Baby Shark，我記緊住。跟住咧，仲有聽眾其實就話要作呢個咩嘅，點一下啲債務先，就話要作呢個Kiss Kiss Kiss 啊！屌你老母，我記得，我記住，我記住，仲有啲債嘅，遲啲先講。時間緊張啊，12點啦，真係。好，咁咧就拎翻個靈蘭秘典論，可能就唔係作到好多嘅，但係咧都作到啲嘅。係啊，會作到啲嘅。桑姐 但係佢得兩粒音嘅喎，兩粒音要扮佢好難。君主之官，佢又啱喎，屌！喂，屌你老母，真係啱喎啲音。心者君主之官。心者君主之官，神出焉，廢者相傅之官，治節出焉。好。心者君主之官，明出焉，廢。唔係喎，頭三者，心者君主之官，神明出焉。心者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者喂啊！屌你老母啊！佢 pat 咗 point 嚟嘅。君主之官，神明出焉，廢者相傅之官。三者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者心者廢者。心者君主之官，神明出焉，第一句一定要好好聽先得。咁用咩音好咧？心者相傅之官，原曲係點嘅咧？啦吧吧吧吧吧吧吧吧 ，OK， 要原曲嘅神髓喎，神髓啊！我要心者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者相傅之官，治節出焉，公者將軍之官。唔得喎，呢個 build up 太難先。你越唱越低喎，三句應該要 build up 嘅喎。 其實好撚好，即係個 pattern 上面好撚啱呢首歌㗎。三者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者。好，攞翻出嚟先。C minor， 廢者。心者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者。心者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者。相傅之官，治節出焉，幹者將軍之官，謀慮出焉，者中正之官，決斷出焉。心者將軍的神明出焉，廢者相傅之官，治節出焉。心者將心者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者相傅之官，治節出焉。睇下先有冇唔啱音呢？係啦。心者君主之官，神明出焉，廢者相傅之官，治節出焉。幹者將軍之官。呢度點樣先會好聽呢？哇，係喎，啱嘅喎。 要 share screen 啊？邊度 share screen 啊？鏡像輸出啊！我要。已經冇得鏡像輸出字個電話嘅咩？我要鏡像輸出啊！我今晚就要作出驚世駭俗嘅作品，屌你老母！點解呢篇叫《靈蘭秘典論》呢？靈蘭咧就皇帝擺書嘅地方嚟嘅，以前啲書好珍貴嘅，有用嘅資訊先值得留低嘅。岐伯同佢講完之後咧，皇帝話要抄起佢，就擺喺呢個靈蘭嗰度，係啊，咁好撚勁嘅，因為佢講啲嘢，即係岐伯講嗰啲嘢啊。岐伯係隻雀啊，係啊，屌！哇，低過5%啊！食屎啊！快啲！我今晚就要作驚世駭俗嘅作品啊！有驚世駭俗嘅作品問世啊！屌你老母個閪！好撚勁！睇先，鏡像輸出佢先。唔係啊 ，iPad 2。耶！啊！啱㗎啦，啱㗎啦。嘿！佢諗到邊啊？完成啊，完成啊！呢邊，啱撚實晒，屌你老母！放過嚟呢邊先。哇靚！哇放撚咗嚟呢邊啊，用2個 mon 啊，好撚威啊！而家我屌你老母！好啊！我而家覺得好歡喜，唉，好開心啊！我有2個 mon 啊，而家好。當這將軍之官謀慮出現，當這打光這個啊！屌你老母！ 者將軍之官，謀慮出焉。感者中正之干者將軍之官，謀慮出焉。擔者中正之官，決斷出焉。擔者中正之官，決斷出焉。哇！成首唱都得啦，而家咪頭嗰幾句啊，頭嗰幾句啊。多嘢先，我成功啦會，屌！心者，君主之官，神明出焉。廢者，相傅之官。 感謝正之官決斷出現。爭少少。喪者將軍之官，神明出焉。廢者相傅之官，治節出焉。化干者將軍之官，謀慮出焉。擔者中正之官，決斷出焉。壇中者好，壇中者。壇中者脾胃者倉廩之官，五味出成日都唔記得入戇撚柒鳩。壇中者五味之官，使神之官，屌你老味佢喺邊？壇中者，屌你老味揾嘢話滾住佢啦！好，揾嘢話滾住佢先。壇中者係搬返嚟呢度先。壇中者使神之官，sorry， 神使之官，喜樂出焉。脾胃者倉廩之官，五味出焉。大腸者傳道之官，變化出焉。壇中者C minor 冇包含 F 喎。少啲先。 焉。這是神之官，喜樂出焉。哇，脾胃者點算啊？喜樂出焉，跟住咧，嗰個係 B flat， 脾胃。脾胃者，倉廩之官，五味出焉。好，加埋上一句啊！堂中這的神之官，喜樂出焉。為這倉廩之官，未出焉。應該係我唱得唔好，啲音唔啱嘅，照計。壇中這是神之官，喜樂出焉。脾胃者倉廩之官，未出焉。 啊，唔係。壇中這蒼廩之官，壇中唔係蒼廩之官啊。有啲好無謂嘅同學喺度攞考試貼士。但係我出於呢個班長嘅身份，我唔可以反唇相譏。但係我真係好想屌柒佢，我係幫佢攞晒咯，屌你！屌你幾多歲啊？唉，仲要攞考試貼士，交一個柒碌，合格咪合格啦，唔合格咪唔撚合格啦，屌你老！唉，食屎啦！咦，去邊啊？唉，呢度出嚟啊！唉，屌你個閪！嬲啊！中這蒼廩之官，喜樂出焉。皮為這蒼廩之官，未出焉。壇中這是神之官，喜樂出焉。皮為這蒼廩之官，未出焉。大唱這傳道之官，變化出焉。笑場這受盛之官，化物出焉。以後唔好再咁，我以後唔好再咁樣講呢啲嘢，真係。屌，我考完試我就屌一次嗰啲人啊！屌你老母，都一把年紀啦，你話啲助教同啲同學通水喎，即係有個人就即係有幾個人啊，好幾個人啊，就喺度講啲助教，話啲助教同啲同學通水。即係點講？佢哋嘅講法係啲助教同啲同學，同有啲同學就俾一啲考試 tips，但係我又聽唔到。佢好覺得有其他同學有俾嘅，就冇俾佢。呢個係一個極之嚴重嘅 accuse 嚟嘅。你有證據就向校方告發，就向校方舉報。你冇證冇據又唔好撚含血噴人，我就覺得。考完試我兜口兜面屌柒佢，我費撚事喺 WhatsApp 度講，仆街！我一個 WhatsApp 喺度辣興我啊，真係。我諗下咩辦法先。 我諗下咩辦法先。仆你個街啊！辣興咗我啊！我喺度唱歌啊！我係愛與和平嘅使者嚟嘅，冚家富貴。屌你老母！而家12點半啦，我仲未有片交啊！為咗湊你呢個仆街冚家場。屌你！你有證有據，你咪 report 俾 department 聽話有助教同同學通水咯，冚家產！屌你老母，臭閪幾多歲啊？繼續作曲，唔好理咁嘅小人，真係好。而家咧就作呢句。好嬲啊！而家有證有據，唉，屌你老母！我一定要屌柒佢先安樂㗎，真係啊！好嬲啊！我而家。但係嬲都要作曲嘅，因為你係一個作曲家嚟嘅。呢首係一首驚世駭俗嘅作品嚟㗎，你唔可以俾啲仆街冚家鏟打擾咗你嘅興致㗎。屌你老母！好嬲啊！我而家。大長者，傳道之官，變化出現。小長者，受盛之官，化物出現。咁講得好聽嘅，但喂好聽喎呢句嘢。嚴重嘅 accuse 喎，嚴重嘅 accuse。流啊！大長者，傳道之官，變化出現。小長者，受盛之官，化物出現。大長者，傳道之官，變化出現。這受盛之官，化物出現。有冇得？傳道之官，變化出現。小長者，傳道之官。 這傳道之官變化出現，消除這造成之官，大場這傳道之官變化出現。這傳道之官變化出現，消除這受盛之官化物出現，大場這傳道之官變化出現，消除這受盛之官化物出現，類似係咁啦。好啊，冇時間啦 ，upload 啦，要 upload 噶啦。哎呀，死啦！睇下唱唔唱到先，未必唱到其實。試下先，唱一次啦吓。屌，做乜春啊？咦，斷鳩咗！喂，翻嚟啊！屋你街斷鳩咗，好嬲啊！我真係狗口長不出象牙，屌你老母！唉，冇阻住我唱歌，唔加長。信這君主之官，神明出焉，廢這相傅之官，治節出焉，幹這將軍之官，謀慮出焉，擔這中正之官，決斷出焉，壇中這神使之官，喜樂出焉，皮為這倉廩之官，五味出焉，大腸這傳道之官變化出現，消除這受盛之官化物出現，類似係咁啦。下個禮拜就寫好俾大家睇啦。但係其實禮拜一就考試嘅，真係做唔切，就唔好意思。但係有個作咗出嚟嘅啦，好韻律啊，好 musical 呢段字，其實好適合呢首歌，我覺得。唉，呢啲同學阻撚柒住晒，好阻住我都好啦，我都作撚好噶啦，屌你老母，咁就係啊，唔鬧同學住啊，兜口兜面屌，仆街，好，下禮拜就同樣時間再同大家見面，祝大家有個愉快嘅晚上，就唔好俾濕鳩同學影響到心情，就愉快嘅週末大家都要有，好，大家咁話，好，下個禮拜同樣時間再見，拜拜。
睇完節目記得 like、comment 同埋 share 我哋嘅 channel，收睇最強頻道，訂閱熱血時報。